Now this show, it's about lobster ravioli. Give these beautiful little gems a try and you are going to be blown away. You're going to impress your guest with a ravioli that's this good. Hello! Welcome back to Texas Cooking Today. On this episode we're going to be making lobster ravioli. Oh, this is such a good, delightful little treat. And I'm going to show you every part of it. I'm going to show you how to make some pasta, how to make the filling, your lobster filling, and a wonderful Alfredo sauce to put over the top of it. So, come a little closer, let me show you what we're going to be cooking with, and let's get this goodie underway. Now, making lobster ravioli is as much of an adventure as anything can be when it comes to the culinary arts. This is a really wonderful dish, but it needs to be executed properly in order for everything to really come together well. So let me show you what we're going to do here. And yes, white wine is certainly a part of this meal, but it takes a very small part. Our sauce, simple Alfredo sauce. We have a cup of cream back here. I'm going to be grating up about a half a cup of Parmigiano Reggiano. This is the real thing here. You can always tell from the rind whether it's from the Parma region or not. And sure enough, what I've been buying here is the real thing, and it's delightful tasting. If you've never had it, see if you can find it and try that. But anyway, Alfredo sauce, cream, Parmesan, a little bit of garlic there, and we're going to be cooking it up in some butter and a little olive oil. And just making this most wonderful Alfredo sauce. For the filling, of course, our lobster, we have some ricotta cheese right here. I have some basil, shallots, butter, and white wine that we're going to be using all together to make the filling for this wonderful lobster ravioli. The pasta itself, very simple. Semolina, you're familiar with that product. That's 100% durum wheat semolina right there. Kind of looks and feels a little bit like cornmeal, but it is certainly not cornmeal. I have flour here also. About 3/4 of a cup of flour will work. You can use all-purpose flour. I'm using bread flour because I want the higher gluten content. And then 2 eggs, some olive oil, and a little bit of salt. And that's to make our pasta with. And you're going to find out that making pasta is not a lot of trouble. It's not an ordeal, okay? So don't be shy away from this dish because of pasta. You're going to find out real quick that pasta is easy, and all you need is a rolling pin. You don't have to have a pasta maker, a pasta machine. None of that is necessary. I'm going to show you how to make pasta by hand and to do it the old-fashioned and easy way so that it doesn't kill you. Alright, very simple. We have some lobster ravioli coming up. Let's get to it. I've placed a steamer pan here on the stove. Now you can boil, you can steam, you can bake your lobster. It doesn't matter how you cook it. You just need to cook it. So I'm going to start this up, getting it heated. And for now, while I'm waiting for this to come up to a nice steaming condition, let's turn our attention right around over here and make some pasta. Now we're going to be making pasta. And for the pasta, as we mentioned earlier, we're going to be using olive oil, salt, semolina, flour, using a bread flour. You can use an all-purpose flour for this too. You can also make this from a single cup of all-purpose flour. You don't have to have any of the semolina. If you don't have it at home, don't worry about it. Go ahead and make this. Just use flour. Now, the difference is semolina is higher gluten content. It has a beautiful yellowish color to it. It's just, it is part of what pasta is, and it dates back a long, long way. Alright, now if you notice, I put my dry ingredients in this bowl, and I have made a little well there. Let me put some salt in there. I'm going to put in 1 sprinkle there, a 3-finger pinch is what I call that, and that's a half a teaspoon is what I just put in there. Pour these straight down into the center of that well. Now this is actually done on purpose this way, whether you do it in a bowl or on a flat board, which is traditional doing it on a flat board. I do it in a bowl just because I think it's a little easier for me. Put in some olive oil. We're looking for 1 to 2 tablespoons. And right there's 1 1/2. And I'm going to take a fork, break my yolks, and beat that in the middle. And what I'm looking to do is to slowly incorporate the flour and that semolina into the center of this. That's the reason it's done this way. And this helps to prevent making dry lumps in the center of it, because you're just slowly pulling the flour in. So it's a time-honored tradition for a reason, because it helps to reduce lumps. There, now, after I get it mostly pulled together like it is now, and she's sort of into some dry clumps like this, and if you notice, that didn't take me very long. I'm going to put just a little flour in my hand here, and that's so I can dust my hands up, and that way when I reach in this bowl, that's not going to stick to me. Okay? Now, I don't want to really work this very much. I just I'm squeezing it and twisting it under a little bit. There we go. I'm going to do that again. I'm just finishing to combine all of those ingredients. Now, once I've done that, we're finished. Okay? This product is not ready to roll out yet. It needs to rest. The thing about pasta is it can be really, really disagreeable. It can fight you. And if you've ever tried to make this without first resting it, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. So first we're going to rest it, and that way when we roll it out, it won't keep shrinking up on us. Now some chefs like to cook lobster by steaming it with white wine. I would happen to be one of those chefs. So I'm going to pour in some white wine into my steaming water, bring it right back up to a nice boil. And what that's going to do is just impart a slight acidic flavor in that meat, and it's going to bring out the meat flavor considerably better. Alright? Okay, it looks like I have some steam going here. I'll take my lobsters, put those nice little tails right down in. And remember, we're not worried about presentation. You can use lump meat. It's already deshelled if you wish. There we go. Now, I'm going to let that steam for about 8 minutes, and it should be good. Well, our lobster has been in for 8 minutes now. So they are ready to be removed. Take those out and set them on a plate. Now, this isn't the same plate I was using before. That one was corrupted by the juices of the lobster, which would have still been raw juices. So give yourself a fresh plate to set those on. Now, turn that burner off. All I have to do now is start working on the other components for our filling. I'm going to let these guys cool so they can be handled. I don't want to burn myself. Okay, it's time for us to take care of cutting up our shallot to go in our filling. Now, I've gone ahead and cut the end of this off. Make sure you cut the top end and not the root. Leave the root intact, and you're going to find out why here in just a little bit. I want to take my knife, and the first thing I want to do is just run it up the side to break some of this skin. So, let's just very gently. There we go. And I do that so I can open this up. And what I'm trying to do is to expose the moist layers underneath. The outer layer on this one looks like it's a little bit dry. That's not too unusual. Okay, there's part of my shallot. Now, when cutting up our shallots, what we're looking to do is to make cuts in 3 directions. Cuts this way, cuts this way, and then cuts this way. And I'm going to start by running my knife into this. Now, you can do this a couple of ways. You can hold it upright like this, dash the point of the knife in, and bring it down like so. That's an okay way. Just don't cut through that root end. Leave it shy of that root, okay? Let me do that again, like that, okay? Now, I'm going to do the same thing again, coming down this way. Not going all the way through, of course. I'm leaving the root end intact. And what this does is it gets small pieces ready to be cut. As soon as I cross-cut this, we're just going to have it already diced up for us. Now, all I have to do is make small cross-cuts, and there's my shallot dice. There we go. We're all ready. Beautiful, isn't it? That lovely light purple color and the gentle flavor that comes from it. It just really helps to lend to this dish wonderfully. There we go. We're going to need to prepare some basil to go in that filling. Now, what I'm going to do is simply pluck my basil leaves free from the stem. There we go. And these don't have to be perfect, but you just kind of want to get them all stacked up into one spot. eventually those leaves just kind of get too small to handle. So I just pull back what I haven't cut. There we go, cross cut that. And it's ready to go into my filling. I'm going to cook this along with the shallots, butter, and white wine. So let's get that in the pan. Let's go ahead and get it in there. Now, let's add some butter to this. We're going to get some heat on our pan. And a little bit of olive oil down in here. Just like so. Now, I'm not going to be frying this. What I want to do is actually to be kind of simmering it off. We're going to put some wine in here also. Let me get my heat down to a nice medium high. And I simply want to cook those shallots down till they're soft. Now, for our lobster, we simply got to get the lobster out of the shell. And this is not about being pretty, okay? We're not looking for presentation here. What I'm looking for, and remember, choke up on that knife so you get good directional control on it. Just split those lobsters right in half, and I can easily extract the meat that way. Okay, so as you can see, there's no hard work. You don't have to have the kitchen shears. Just have your sharp knife handy and go at it. From there, all I need to do is gently work that meat out of the shell. There we go. And up and out. So what I want to do here is just go ahead and chop this down into some smaller pieces. These are a bit thick where I have them here, so I'm going to split these into halves, just like so. Notice again, I'm keeping the point of that knife in contact with the board. Those fingertips turned under and back. And as you see, what I have here is about 8 ounces of lobster, and I'm using 8 ounces of ricotta. Okay, so we're going to mix those two together. Plus what we're making in the pan by cooking up those shallots and the basil. We have our ricotta here. Go ahead and put it right down in this. And I'm just going to mix the two together. Now right now, I'm going to go ahead add in just a little bit of salt. Just like so. And that was about 1/4 of a teaspoon. Doesn't take a lot. Just looking to bring out flavor. Now I have this wonderful smooth filling that's going to fit down into the pouches of a ravioli really easy. Oh man, it's looking beautiful. Now while I'm waiting for the rest of my mixture to finish reducing, I'm going to be placing this right down in the refrigerator, keeping it nice and cool. Our reduction is doing quite nice. You'll notice it's coming down quite a bit. And I'm going to go ahead and keep simmering it a little bit more. I want to reduce that just to a very fine amount. I don't want much liquid at all in this. This is more for flavor towards the interior of the ravioli and not so much a substance. It's just a flavor additive. Now we have this down to a beautiful, beautiful reduction. What I want to do, just take a look at that, look at that. Good brown on the edge of it. Good, that's right where we need it. We've cooked out all of that liquid. We're down just to the fats and to the shallots. And we have nothing but a little pan full of flavor right there. I've turned off the heat. I'm just going to let it finish cooling down just like this, all on its own. Well, now that we have got that wonderful reduction ready to go, we have our filling chilling in the refrigerator, the ricotta and lobster mixture, and we're now getting some water heated up for boil. So go ahead and heat you up a nice good sized pot because you're going to be boiling ravioli in just a little bit. Alright, now let's take a look over here at the pasta. Okay, it's time for us to turn our attention to our pasta. Go ahead and open this up. I have this wonderful little bun we made earlier. I'm simply going to take this and I want to cut it in half. And this is going to make your rollout so much easier, okay? So there you have it, simple pasta. The little white specks you're seeing are where the salt. I'm going to take this half and I'm going to compress it once again into a little oval or round biscuit. Something that rolls out easily is what I'm looking for. Now if you'll notice, I'm just using the heel of my hand to kind of tap it out into a basic shape. There we go. Don't want that to stick, so it's time to bring in some flour. A little more. and use that rolling pin. Let me get my knife out of my way. There, look at that. Now you want this about 1/16 of an inch thick or thinner if you can get it that way. Okay, I have broken out the filling and the last component to our filling, which is this butter and olive oil mixed with shallots and basil and reduced to this wonderful tasting component. Now I'm just going to mix it in thoroughly. Now we're going to have a flavor explosion coming from this. So all I have to do at this point is spoon my filling into my raviolis. Now, as I was mentioning to you just a moment ago, you're going to need some water. You can paint this on with your finger. You know, if you wanted to run stripes with your finger just like so, not a problem. But you don't have to do it that way. Let me pull this way a little bit. There we go. What I'm wanting to do, because I have a brush, I recommend that you just go and spend a little money for a simple painting brush. And I want to paint a line across here that's kind of parallel to my fold up there. I'll do another one. And I'm going to do a last one down here. And each of these is about 2 inches apart, center to center. Now, I'm going to pull one line down from the fold and another one, again on 2-inch centers. This corner is not going to be useful for me. And I want to take a little scoop of my filling, and that one was a little bit big. There we go. I want to reduce it just slightly. Get a little more of my filling. And just start filling in each of those squares. That's all you have to do. You want to try to make each one about the same size as possible. Same amount of filling in each one. There we go. Now, I have enough filling there to go ahead and make another 10 of these with the other half. So as you can see, you know, one full recipe of pasta easily can make 20 ravioli. Now, I'll take this, get it out of my way. Remember, we've already activated the gluten by putting down the water to make our lines. Okay, so it's going to naturally stick. You don't have to use any egg product on there or anything like that to make it stick. A lot of people ask me that. Do I have to use egg to make the edges of my pasta stick? And the answer is no. Anything that's going to activate that gluten, like that water, will do just fine. Now if you notice, what I'm doing is just kind of pressing it down gently right on those lines that I made. Next, just take your knife and cut them out, one line at a time. That's all you have to do, just cut on those lines where the water was. You can make beautiful little ravioli this way. When you do this, you're making ravioli like a pro. You don't need machines, you don't need fancy wheels. All you need are the basic tools in the kitchen. Now, once we get our pasta cut out like this, what we want to do is to burp it. So I'm gently pushing down with my fingers just to work any excess air that might be built up under that pasta out of it. Now, I want to tamp it down all the way around. If you lose a little cheese out of one of the edges or so, don't worry about that too much. Scrape it up with a knife, flip it over, and burp your next one. Burp, burp, tamp those edges. Now, this one right here tore. That's my 11th one, and I want to show you how to fix a tear. It's not a problem. Occasionally, when in the world of pasta work and in the world of ravioli making, you're going to get a tear, okay? We don't lose sleep over it. All I have to do is, if I have a small tear, is to take a small piece of pasta, like I have here. I'm just going to tear off a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit of that water right on there. And what I'm doing there is I'm activating again the gluten in the flour. And the tear I have on this right up here, Alright? Just take that and stick it over it. It's just like a tire patch. And once this is boiled up, you'll probably not even notice it. Once sauce is on it, you definitely won't notice it. There you go. One repaired pasta and the rest ready to go. Alright, it's time for us to get that Alfredo started. Our water has come up to a boil, and so what I want to do is I'm going to get this sauce started, and after it's underway, then I can go ahead and start heating up those ravioli. Now I have in here about 2 tablespoons of butter. Over here I have my clove of garlic that has been dehusked. I'm going to take that callus off the end of it. And for this, all I have to do is just gently crush it and place it right down into that butter. I don't have to chop it up or anything, because I'm going to remove that clove of garlic before I start cooking up this Alfredo. Now if I want, I can also use olive oil in this. That's not a problem. I can use olive oil instead of butter, or with butter, or butter by itself. It all kind of works out, so don't sweat it. Oh boy, the smell of that, the garlic releasing into that butter and cooking with it. Oh, that is just absolutely divine smelling. Now I have my cheese ready. My cream is ready. That's 1 cup of cream, about a half a cup of shredded cheese, and 2 tablespoons of butter, or 2 tablespoons of olive oil, or a little bit of each, and a clove of garlic to gently toast inside of it. There we go. I have a slight browning in my butter. As you can see here, just very light. So, at that point, add that cream. That's going to mix right into that cream. 135. Pull it off that heat. It's steaming. Pour in my cheese. Get to mixing. Most of it has melted in. So now that that has happened, I can turn my attention right over here to my ravioli. Let's go ahead and start putting these guys in. Whoops, I forgot to salt it. Salt down my water. There we go. 3. Wonderful. Now, every once in a while in the cooking of ravioli, sometimes one of them breaks open. Don't lose sleep over it, okay? It happens. Now, when those pastas rise up to the surface of the water, that's a good sign. You can see that one that I dashed with the fork, how it looks a little different on the edge. I like to just stir these to keep them turned over and cooking even. And again, I'm getting that aroma of the lobster coming up again from the water. Really good. Now, how to know when your raviolis are ready? Well, there's only one real way to check any pasta, and that's to taste the pasta itself and see if it has become al dente. So what I'm going to do is separate one of these raviolis. I'm going to gently cut off the corner of it, just like that. And that allows me to test the pasta to know if it's done. Good flavor. You need just slightly more cooking, about another minute, minute and a half will do fine. As I take these out, I'll put them one at a time in this bowl, and I'm going to run some olive oil over them. Alright. Turn that off. Then another dash of olive oil on the top. We're good. You know, I'm about ready to get all of this assembled, but before I do that, I'm going to take a few of these leaves, I'm going to break them apart, and I'm going to mince part of these. Not mince, excuse me, chiffonade. There we go. I'm going to use some of the others. as a garnish. We're going to make this beautiful. Now, let's start with the plate. Now, we've got the plate handy. Go ahead and put down some of these ravioli. There. This turns just the right way. Good. Now, we're going to need a little bit of our Alfredo sauce. And on that, I'm going to use a light ladle. Just gently work a little of that white sauce over the top there. A light sprinkle with some of our basil and a few of those leaves. There we go. Now, just to finish this off, for a little side vegetable, I have prepared a little bit of asparagus with prosciutto. What a wonderful way to set off a beautiful dish such as this. There we go. We have our lobster ravioli. There it is. The beautiful, the humble, and the majestic. Yeah, lobster ravioli. Man, oh man. Look at that. Ooh, yes. That interior. And the flavor of the shallots, the sweetness from it. Lobster. This is fabulous. That right there, that's a true winner and a true classic. So I'll tell you what, wait till you try this one. You're going to be blown away by it. I would like to say thank you. Thank you very much for watching Texas Cooking Today. Thank you to my subscribers, and you have a good day. Thank you for watching Texas Cooking Today, the show where you can get great recipes and the best techniques are taught. Please subscribe to Texas Cooking Today, where you will always find something hot and ready to eat.